What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Mini TV Reviews. I am your host, Mo, and tonight, y'all, we're doing something new. All right, now this is one of two new shows that I'm probably going to be doing since Papa's House is done, and we're going to be done with Based on a True Story, and we just concluded Cross. This is Dexter. Original Sin, y'all. This is season 1, episode 1, titled And in the Beginning. Now, I did watch a majority of the seasons of Dexter, y'all, from the initial one. I didn't watch the second series of Dexter when he was out somewhere, when he relocated, but I loved when I watched Dexter. But yeah, so this is when he was younger. All right, this one is streaming on Paramount Plus with Showtime, or if you just have Showtime. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is: young Dexter Morgan struggles to keep his urges in check while navigating life with his father Harry and sister, high school senior Deb. After Harry has a health scare, Dexter realizes it may be time to fulfill his destiny. All right, y'all, we are back at it with our favorite sociopath. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we begin the episode with Dexter's life flashing before his eyes as he fights for his, okay? He's been shot in the chest and was rushed to the hospital. Now in the back of the cop car, he speaks to life flashing before his eyes, but not seeing his death per se. Okay, they're able to eventually get his pulse back, but then they show his mom giving birth to him and choosing to name him Dexter. Side note, I just want to say that I love the fact that they kept the original intro and just added this series particular flair to it. Okay, but back to the show. Now, Dexter is in college and he is a pre-med student. And so while he's in class this one particular day, he is getting made fun of by his classmates because he's kind of quirky, okay? But his professor sees much promise in his work and tells him that he's got a very bright future as a surgeon. But after the class is finished, Dexter tells him that he didn't really feel anything while he was practicing on the cadaver, right? But he did an amazing job, which doesn't strike the professor as an odd statement. Instead, he says that that's a good trait to possess in their type of work. Okay. Now, when taking his graduation picture, the only thing that makes Dexter smile, that brings a smile to his face, are all things sinister. We talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. We talking about Gacy, John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, BTK. All them people bring a smile to his face. Elsewhere, a crime is taking place that his dad has to report to. Now, his dad is the sergeant and in the precinct, and this particular crime that he is reporting to is made up of a mom, a dad, and a daughter that have all been slaughtered in what looks to be a robbery gone wrong. So we see Dexter's dad, Harry, working the case along with a young Angel, Tanya, and Bobby, while Vince is taking photos of the crime scene. Now, Harry manages to find a bloody print on the remote for the TV. We'll keep it there, okay? But aside from that, they don't really find too much of anything, okay? Whoever did this was clean. They put booties on and all of that to not track anything. Now, at home, Deb is complaining about her dad not cooking the steak a little bit more. I mean, you basically just like slaughtered the cow and flipped it after 2 seconds and put it on the plate for us. Thanks. Okay. And he's talking to them about their day. Dexter says the school was great. However, he didn't feel anything when he was doing his procedure, but he did take cap and gown pictures, and that there's some Greek party happening that Deb wants to go to. But of course, you know, she is a high schooler still, okay? But she does have some friends that know some people that are in college. And so while she really didn't expect her dad to let her go, he agrees to do so under one condition, that she take Dexter along with her. So she was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And so she gets up and she stomps away cursing like she always does. Okay, but his dad just wants him to be around people his age. Dexter don't really want to go, but I mean, you got to spread your wings and at least try. So after she leaves, Dexter and Harry finish their convo about him still having the urge to hurt people, but his dad tries to convince him to stay the course. And once he finishes college and pre-med, or once he finishes college and his residency, they'll go from there. Now, fast forward a little bit, and he's walking through campus as they have like some type of career day or job fair happening. Now, Vince is there on behalf of the MMPD, but instead of him paying any attention to doing the actual job that he's there to do, which is try to recruit potentials, he's steady mo trying to hit on every girl that walked past. Y'all, he was desperate even at a younger age. Now, Dexter comes to the booth and is very intrigued by these pictures. And he even asked Vince if two of the crime scene pics had the same killer. But of course, Vince being Vince, he straight up ignores Dexter and tells him to move the hell out the way, okay, because you're blocking my view. Now, at the precinct, Captain Spencer is getting in the team's behind because bodies continue to drop with no new leads into who is possibly doing this. Now, Tanya comes in with news of a match for the print off the remote, and it could possibly be 4 culprits. But out of the 4, only one checks all the boxes, and his name is Levi Reed. So, of course, they go to arrest him, and when they go to do so, he's in the shower singing Ice Ice Baby. Or rather, rapping Ice Ice Baby. So while waiting on Deb to finish getting ready for this party, y'all, Dexter is looking at a magazine, and he's talking about how he envisions his first time would be. Okay, here he is 20 years old and he's still a virgin. Now, we don't know if he's talking about sexually or if he's talking about violently hurting somebody, and so he's imagining what his first time will be like, and he's talking about his favorite serial killers, wondering if he'll get a nickname like them one day. But Deb bursts in, breaking up that fantasy. Okay, it's time to go. We don't need you choking your chicken nugget. Okay, so they head to the party where her friend meets her at the door, and from there they split off from Dexter. And so he speaks to how his dad always wants him to have friends, but I mean, if he gonna have friends like this, he has no interest in these type of people because they're very unsanitary. And y'all, they doing typical college stuff, okay? But we see people at the party, they sharing bongs, people making out, people drinking. And then y'all, Dexter is walking past the girl and she just like tries to tongue him down. Now, he don't give her no play, and so she ends up grabbing his crotch. Still no excitement. And so she was like, wait a minute, hold on. What's going on? You just completely disinterested? You got a girlfriend? You gay? What's happening? And so he was like, oh, I got a girlfriend. I love it, y'all. Now, unlike him, Deb wants all of that plus some, okay? And so we see her going to the kitchen with one of the frat brothers, okay? She's flirting with him, and he's giving her a shot or two. And so next thing we know, here comes her friend trying to find Dexter to let him know that Deb went upstairs with the guy, but she looked very intoxicated. But when her friend tried to intercept her and get her away from this guy before something happened, the guy closed the door and locked the door. So, of course, Dexter has to go up there and rescue her. And he saves her just in time because it looks like he was about to sexually assault that lady. He was about to take advantage of her. And so they end up fighting. And just as Dexter looks like he's about to stab him with this knife that's conveniently close by, y'all, Deb comes to and she tackles Dexter. So outside, she gets pissed at him because apparently this guy had told her since she was drunk she could just go lay down. And she was naive enough to believe that he wasn't going to do nothing sinister to her. And so she's mad at Dex, but quickly realizes that it would have been really bad had he not come to her rescue, because he told her that his pants was down and off. And so she was like, did he? And he was like, nah. I jumped in. So at home, they come in way past curfew. But instead of, revealing what really happened at this party, Dex covers for Deb about the party and even apologizes to their dad for having him up so late when they're supposed to be going hunting in only a few hours. And so the dad was like, it's okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that my kids got home safe, that y'all was all right. And so as he looks out the window, we see a flashback of him watching the Dolphins play from that window's point of view initially, right? And so as he's watching the game, the Dolphins are finna get ready to score. And so, the Dolphins are finna get ready to, I was about to do it again, y'all. I can't get it. The Dolphins were finna get ready to score. And so he's looking for his son, Junior. Now, when he's looking for him, he quickly realizes that Junior is missing. And so he looks around the room and he notices that the wind is blowing from this particular curtain. And so he realizes that the door, the sliding door, is open, y'all. And so he rushes to the backyard where there is a swimming pool. And y'all know where I'm going with this. At the bottom of the swimming pool, unfortunately, is his son. And so he jumps in with no hesitation. He brings him up and he's trying to give him mouth to mouth on the way up. I've never seen anything like that. But when I tell y'all, that was amazing. And so despite his best efforts, y'all, he could not save his son. And to make matters worse, y'all, Doris, who is Dexter and Deb's mom, who is Dexter's mom, she was not there when this happened. Okay? Or maybe that was Deb's mom. Junior's mom. Junior's mom wasn't there when this incident occurred. And so she rolled up just as they were carting his body out to the van. Y'all, it was sad. It was awful. So we jump back to the present, and Dex and Harry are going hunting. And while out, Dex reveals that hunting just isn't cutting it for him anymore. He's outgrown this, and he feels like he's ready to take it to the next level. So Harry was like, hey, man, are you sure? Because once you do this, you can't come back from it. And so he was like, man, I almost did it the other night. And so he explains that he would have killed the guy the other night had it not been for Deb stopping him. And explain what happened. And when it was happening, y'all, it all became so clear to him. Okay, he knows the code and how not to break it. So why not let him feed these urges of his? Y'all, Dexter just doesn't understand like Harry does what it means to take another man's life. He's just not ready for that. And so as they're walking through the woods, y'all, Harry suddenly collapses to his knees, and Dex has to literally pick him up and rush him to the hospital. Now, Harry ends up suffering a heart attack, but fortunately, they were able to save him and get him stabilized. But of course, he's going to have to make some really hard changes to his habits, y'all, if he wants to add some more years to his life, like quitting smoking, cutting back on drinking, changing up his diet, all of those things. And while Deb is a mess at the thought of her dad dying, because she was upset that they had, went out to hunt earlier that day before, she had gotten up. And so she felt bad about the fact that she couldn't say goodbye to him if something were to happen to him. And so she's just distraught, y'all. But Dex is definitely not matching her energy because he is currently eating a candy bar. And so she just doesn't see how he could be so calm and collected in a moment like this. But We know what's really wrong with Dexter. Okay, so he talks about how weird the next few days were because instead of their dad getting better like he was expected to do, he detoured for the worst. And so when he talks about grief, we see the same nurse that's been taking care of his dad consoling another family because they just lost their loved one. But when she's going to hug one of the family members, y'all, in a mirror, he sees her smiling. And so he realizes that she too has a dark passenger. His suspicions are confirmed when she throws a newspaper away as she's leaving his dad's room. And so when he opens it, y'all, he notices that an obituary of the patient that passed away the other day has been purposefully clipped out. So the next time he saw her giving his dad some medicine, he asked her what it was, and she couldn't explain to him what she had given him. And we know that he's pre-med, so of course he would know exactly what those medications do. And so he knew in that very moment that she had to go. She was here to do evil, and he is here to take her out of the equation because he don't need his dad being her next victim. And so he saw her placing this binder back in the filing cabinet in like the nurse's station, or in her office rather. And so once she left out of the office, she just kind of left him lingering by the open space that leads into her office. And so after she walked away, he went back in and he broke into the filing cabinet and found the binder that contains numerous obituaries, including one of her latest victim from the other day. He also took the biohazard container that was in his dad's room, that had all the used needles that she had been sticking him with, and took them back to his class lab to run tests on them, and found out that she's been using potassium nitrate to slowly kill her patients over a matter of days. Now, his professor said that, one dose of this, it wouldn't really do no harm, but over time, oh yeah, this could definitely take somebody out. So he went to Harry to get his approval first before he made any types of moves, seeing as how protective Harry is over him, right? He doesn't want to disappoint him, and he doesn't want to upset him, and so he wants to go get his approval before he makes any moves on taking this lady out. So when he explained what she was doing to him, as she was finna get ready to literally give him probably a fatal dose of the potassium nitrate, he simply told Dexter to stop her. And y'all, that's all he needed to hear. And just when she was about to give him another shot, y'all, Dexter grabbed her arm with the quickness, and all the doubt that they might have had about her not being who she was, y'all, that went out the window when she looked at them. And Harry was like, nah, she gotta go. So that night, he ended up sneaking into her house, right? And he lined her living room with plastic like he usually does all of his crime scenes. And he performed his first kill. Now, I forgot to tell y'all that on this particular night, because their dad wasn't able to come to her regional volleyball championship match, Dex volunteered to go. And so he was supposed to be there, but here he is taking out this lady. And so as she's getting kills on the court, he's actually getting his first kill and his first release. And so they ended up winning the match, y'all, but she noticed that Dexter never showed. Okay. But he did potentially save his dad's life. Let me take out the potentially. I know he saved his dad's life. And so he wraps her up and loads her body up into the truck bed and takes her to Alligator Alley, where he proceeds to feed her naked body to the gators. But before he dumped her in there, y'all, he did take a trophy, which was her earrings. So he comes home the next day to see his house surrounded by cop cars and immediately gets nervous because he thinks that they're there to arrest him, right? But in reality, they're actually there to make sure that him and Deb are still fed while Harry is recouping in the hospital. So they load them down with food, and when I tell y'all load them down, they load them down with all the good and yummy snacks. Now, when Tanya comes, she presents him with an internship offer that's paying. It's a paid internship because he was able to quickly point out the relation of the two cases. Y'all remember them two pictures that he asked Vince about. Now, apparently they had worked on that case for a couple of weeks, but it only took Dex a couple of seconds to make the connection between the two. And so they could definitely use somebody like that on their team. And so after they leave, y'all, Deb finally comes back home and he was like, girl, where you been? And she was like, over my friend's house. Where were you last night? Because you sure wasn't at my game. And he was like, oh, Deb, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure you are. Who bought all this food? And so he tells her, and she was like, yeah, I'm sure they did. Y'all, she takes all the good food that they just dropped off and she throws the food in the trash. Now, I don't know how much money they spent, but I'm so glad that they didn't stick around to see her do that. Because when I tell you, I would have been like, girl, you can just give it back to me if you're going to throw it in the trash. I will take it versus you wasting my money. So at his graduation, Dexter is there all alone. Okay, nobody is there to support him. Nobody's in his corner. And this is kind of how he's felt all his life, like he's a loner. You know, he's kind of just going through life by himself. And he says that he feels like he kind of deserves it, seeing as how he didn't show up to Deb's regional championship match. But after everybody throws up their tassels and their caps, y'all, Deb actually did come. She was just a little bit late, okay? And so he was like, man, I thought you was upset with me. And she was like, I'm still pissed at you. Oh, I'm still very pissed at you. But like you said, family is family at the end of the day. So Harry is finally able to get discharged. And while Deb goes to go get the wheelchair, him and Harry are having a conversation. And Harry was like, you did it. And so he was like, yeah, I did. Okay. And so Harry is wanting to go a little bit more in depth with this conversation, but Deb comes in and breaks it up. And she clearly notices that some type of conversation was being had before she entered the room, but they won't tell her what it is. So, like I said, Harry congratulates Dex on saving him, ridding the world of one evil person. Okay, and so after Dex details how he felt about it and how he disposed of her body, ensuring that she will never be seen or heard from again, that no evidence was left behind for them to be traced back to them, he tells him, okay, good job. You know, I'm glad that you are all right. And I'm glad that you were able to save me from her. And so after Dex leaves out, y'all, poor Harry, he breaks down because he realizes that Dex has crossed the line that he can never come back from. But time fast forwards a little bit, and then the next thing we see is Dex talking about how Harry wasn't one for change ever. Harry is then telling Dex that he really doesn't approve of what his next move is going to be, but at this point, it's too late because Dex has decided to go ahead and take Tanya up on her offer for the paid internship as we see them arrive to work together. And so, of course, people are congratulating Harry for coming back. You know, they sure did miss him. And they're also congratulating Dex for joining the ranks. They need somebody like him around. Okay. But it's very obvious to Dex that his dad was very loved. You know, he is a man of the people. He's got a lot of friends. And hopefully he will get there eventually. All right. And that's the way this episode ends, y'all. It was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. All right. We'll see how this season shakes out, but I'm so excited that y'all are here to go on this journey with me. If you guys have any show suggestions, please let me know. Like I said, this is one of 2 new shows. Eventually, I'll get back to Matlock and Elsbeth, y'all. I just haven't been in a reviewing mood. I have been watching them though, okay, but I just haven't been in a reviewing mood for those 2 episodes. But we'll get back to it, all right. But if you have any show suggestions, please let me know. You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. Let me see if I can find this page, y'all. Let me see if I can find her. Yep. So shout out to Soul Found 7. Y'all, she has been doing her thing. She takes these beautiful pictures. Okay, she is a personal friend of mine. And she has come over to the dark side to listen to the podcast. But she takes amazing pictures, y'all. She is an up and coming photographer. Y'all should go over and check out her Instagram page, okay? It's Soul, SOUL Found, okay? The number 7 on Instagram. All right, y'all. That's all I have for now. So y'all be safe out there. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.